DonInLondon, hello. It's January 22nd, 2009, Thursday. Time just about 10 to 11 in the morning. Good morning. And I'm a bit delayed in doing my video this morning. Had a lot on my mind, and last night I didn't sleep too well. So how am I feeling this morning, and what may I do about it? So the questions are, to assert in my world, how am I feeling, why, and what can I do? And when I impact on the world, how are we feeling and what can we do, which is to have a bit of empathy. And at the moment my empathy levels are very low, which means I prefer the idea of isolating, licking my wounds and not doing anything. And actually I'm not wounded in any particular way, just sad. So I don't know whether it's the old nudges of clinical depression nudging me one way or the other. What I do know is going to meetings of AA, that's my fellowship, Alcoholics Anonymous, will put me in a better frame of mind. And at the beginning of every AA meeting, the AA Preamble is shared, which suggests this is what AA is all about. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And that's a gift to me, to be able to go somewhere in fellowship and be a part of, not being part of an organisation as such, but being part of a fellowship of men and women who have only one common aim. That's to stay sober a day at a time. And that can be very hard. Modern life is not easy. And M. Scott Peck, the now dead philosopher who wrote The Road Less Travelled, said in his book, the first sentence, life is difficult. And in his obituary it was mentioned that he was a chain-smoking, gin-sodden philanderer. And to what degree that is true or not, I do not know. But what he said was most important, really, as a rebuttal. He said, I'm neither saint nor prophet, and that's me too, neither saint nor prophet. What I need to remember is I'm just the same size as any other human, a bit of wisdom from the years, sharing experience, strength and hope. When it's difficult, when I need a little bit of inspiration, I use books like these, the Daily Reflections of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and as Bill sees it, that's Bill Wilson, co-founder of AA. And they are little gems in a way, because they just remind me to keep things as I can in the day. And the reading for January 22nd says, keep it simple. This is a rather sad keep it simple. Starting off with, a few hours later I took my leave of Dr. Bob, the other co-founder of AA. The wonderful old broad smile was on his face as he said, almost jokingly, remember Bill, let's not louse this thing up, let's keep it simple. I turned away, unable to say a word. That was the last time I ever saw him, and that was Bill Wilson. He goes on to say, after years of sobriety, I occasionally ask myself, can it be this simple? Then at meetings I see former cynics and skeptics who walk the AA path out of hell by packaging their lives, without alcohol, into 24-hour segments, during which they practice a few principles to the best of their individual abilities, and then I grow again, and then I know again that whilst it isn't easy, if I keep it simple, it works. And whilst it isn't easy, as F. Scott Peck said, life is difficult. That's how it feels this morning, and I was gratified from the messages. I get quite a number of emails about my videos, as you might imagine. And even from the skeptics about AA, one was warning me of the dangers of listening or possible comments coming from people who impersonate others on YouTube. Well, I guess that's always going to happen. And whilst their view is negative about AA, I fully appreciate their concern that I shouldn't take notice of things which are not from them. And that's all right too. And you know what? It's most important that not only do people represent AA, no, I don't represent AA, I represent what AA has done for me. And that other people are as sceptical and concerned and challenging of the AA program as I have been over the years. And the gift is we actually settle down into some understanding of what works for us, and AA doesn't work for everybody. I think that's most important to recognise, and that we are just merely travellers on a road 24 hours a day, and then trying to make the best of it. I'm going to pause for a second. Yeah, I'm okay for time. And as Bill sees it for today, the road less travelled, life is difficult, and keeping it in the day. So, maintenance and growth, page, I suppose it's reading number 5 from this book. You can see the notes on the top. I've come round to this one again. It is plain that a life which includes deep resentment leads only to futility and unhappiness. To the precise extent that we permit these do we squander the hours that might have been worthwhile. But with the alcoholic, whose hope is the maintenance and growth of spiritual experience, this business of harbouring resentment is infinitely grave. For then we shut ourselves off from the sunlight of the spirit. The insanity of alcohol returns and we drink again, and with us to drink is to die. If we were to live, we had to be free of anger. The grouch and the sudden rage were not for us. Anger is the dubious luxury of normal men, but for us alcoholics it is poison. And I take solace in that because, I've got sadness in my life, and thanks also to somebody who's been on this journey with me on YouTube for just saying, life happens, you need to get on with it. And it's very pragmatic, and I do appreciate that, and I do know it. I've got to get on with it. But at the same time, we do need to grieve for those relationships and things which are changing, not always to our liking, and not always with any sort of powerlessness. Just our choices are that we cannot continue as we were. So the gift for me at the moment is, the powerlessness part. January is about step 1 for me and my videos, so that's why we've got powerless in the title at the moment. And being powerless over alcohol and life being unmanageable if I do drink is also connected with powerlessness over people, places and things. So people, places and things may be as they are today. People make their choices, places are just as they are, and things are just meant as they are. So why powerless? Simply because if I try and move immovable objects, the amount of unmanageability for me is immense. And trying to move immovable objects or people to be persuaded to my point of view is really not my scene. It's not for me to actually persuade people to my point of view at all. It's for me to express my point of view and make my choices accordingly. So what helps me on a daily basis, and I forgot to do it this morning, which is why I was a bit grouchy, I need to remind myself always of step 1, powerless over people, places, things, powerless over alcohol, and if I take a drink, life is unmanageable. So around that I get to having practical choices of what I may do today. And that practical opportunity of choice really is said in the Serenity Prayer. And I know some people have an antipathy towards God or what it represents. I often just substitute good conscience of me and mankind, which is my higher power. And truth, openness, honesty are part of the principles and values of the programme. So when the Serenity Prayer is said in meetings at the end, or is said to ourselves, we say it to ourselves, I do all the time, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Then I start to realise what my true size on the planet is. I'm just the same size as anybody else, with the same breaks, the same opportunities as life affords. And we need to take account of our surroundings so we can actually make the right life choices. I've been asked to do a chair tonight, and part of me says, yes, I want to be there and share my experience, strength and hope and what is going on for me. At the same time, I'm suffering a bit with problems with my blood sugar levels, which is affecting my understanding and my perception somewhat. And type 1 diabetes is quite difficult to deal with because it's not just having diabetes, it's what comes with it. And for me it's neuropathy, and also it complements my clinical depression. So whilst not drinking means that I don't go into depression straight away, and that's been good for several years, there are times when the depression just comes and goes as it will. So I'm not sure whether I'm reacting to my situation or people, places or things, or that it's just one of those unfortunate times when depression comes to haunt me. Only time will tell.